Back to Harvard, NBC News has confirmed reporting by the Washington Post that the Clinton campaign and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, helped fund that research that ultimately produced the now infamous dossier on Donald Trump. According to a source familiar with the situation, the law firm Perkins Coie, which represented the Clinton campaign and the DNC, retained Fusion GPS in April of 2016 to conduct opposition research. Fusion then hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to further the work that Fusion had already begun on behalf of a previous unknown Republican client to dig up stuff on Trump. Steele went on to produce a collection of raw intelligence reports that allege, among other things, that the president and his associates engaged in a well-developed conspiracy of cooperation with Russia during the 2016 election. The New York Times further reports that the Democratic attorney who retained Fusion GPS, Mark Elias, was not forthcoming about his involvement. Quote, early this year, Mr. Elias had denied he had possessed the dossier before the election. Maggie Haberman of the New York Times went further, saying, folks involved in funding this lied about it, and with sanctimony for a year. President Trump seized on the news today to assert that Steele's findings in the dossier were made up.
I think it's very sad what they've done with this fake dossier. It was made up, and I understand they paid a tremendous amount of money, and Hillary Clinton always denied it. The Democrats always denied it. And now only because it's going to come out in a court case, they said, yes, they did it, they admitted it, and they're embarrassed by it.
Well, we most definitely need a bit of populism tonight as we see the corruption and the lies of the establishment metastasize on multiple fronts. We've got it all covered tonight. The truckers' convoy, Biden's Russia war games, and of course, the bombshell that landed on the Democrats and their media servants overnight. New charging information from the Russia hoax special counsel, John Durham. After all those years of sanctimonious lectures about Russian hacking and election interference and undermining our democracy, it turns out it wasn't Russia, Russia, Russia. It was Clinton, Clinton, Clinton. They were the ones who did the hacking. It was the Clinton campaign, including the present national security advisor and the man now leading Democrats' election integrity efforts who illegally meddled in an election. It was you, Hillary Clinton, and you, Jake Sullivan, and you, Mark Elias, who undermined our democracy. Can you believe these people? Just listen to how they talk.
His final target is democracy itself.
One of the things that we were trying to explain to the press was this isn't just about hacking and leaking emails. This is about a larger information effort by the Russians.
You have a president who, rather than reassuring the American public in American democracy, is trashing American democracy. Every day he's trashing American democracy.
But now we know, thanks to these documents, the factual background attached to a motion filed by Special Counsel John Durham as part of his indictment against former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman, that the Clinton campaign paid a tech firm to, quote, mine internet data to establish an inference, a narrative, tying then-candidate Trump to Russia. In Durham's words, this included, quote, non-public and or proprietary internet data. What does mining non-public and proprietary data mean? It means hacking. It means spying. And look at their targets, according to Durham. Quote, internet traffic pertaining to 1, a particular healthcare provider, 2, Trump Tower, 3, Donald Trump Central Park West apartment building, and 4, the executive office of the President of the United States. Yes, you heard that right. They hacked not just Trump Tower, but the White House. After Trump became president, they hacked the White House. These people who pose as defenders of democracy. How is that even possible that the Clinton campaign hacked the White House? Well, because they're part of the establishment. They hired a firm that already had a top secret contract with the White House. Here's Durham describing the person the Clinton campaign paid to do their hacking. He had come to access and maintain dedicated servers for the executive office of the president as part of a sensitive arrangement whereby it provided domain name system resolution services. He and his associates exploited this arrangement by mining the executive office of the president's DNS traffic and other data for the purpose of gathering derogatory information about Donald Trump, the president. Just let all that sink in for a moment. There's a tech firm that maintains the internet server supporting the president of the United States. The guy who's the current national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, who just lost the election with Hillary, gets his campaign lawyer, Mark Elias, to hire that tech firm with the White House contract to hack into the White House to try and dig up dirt on the sitting president in an effort to show that the 2016 election was stolen by Russia. And that same guy, Jake Sullivan, is now running around hyping up war with Russia. How can we believe a word he says? Look at what he said in October 2016 when he was working for Hillary Clinton. This could be the most direct link yet between Donald Trump and Moscow. It raises even more troubling questions in light of Russia's masterminding of hacking efforts that are clearly intended to hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign. Oh, troubling questions about Russia's masterminding of hacking efforts to hurt the Clinton campaign. He burbled when at that exact moment he himself was masterminding hacking efforts to hurt the Trump campaign by making up stuff about Russia. The utter shamelessness of it is just staggering. And now he's out there just this Friday going on about how Russia is going to invade Ukraine on Wednesday. Who knows where this will end up legally for Jake Sullivan, but there is no question, none at all, that he should immediately step down as National Security Advisor. And then look at his boss, Hillary. She's now plotting another White House run because it went so well the first time. Look at what she said about all this back in October 2016. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. Oh, apparently computer scientists uncovered. My God, have you ever heard such dishonest, disingenuous poppycock? You hired the computer scientists, you lying wretch. You hired them to make it all up. You spied on your rival. Then when you lost, you hacked the White House to try and prove your big lie that the 2016 election was stolen by Russia. You made it all up. So then you could run around for years saying this.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
And then you got all your Democrat cronies to spout your big lie.
He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
He is an illegitimate president in my mind.
Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
And of course, Hillary's criminal scheme to undermine our democracy was cheered on all the way by her servants and the media. Let's just start with this one, in all its delicious, humiliating entirety.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes. And we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No, this is 60 Minutes. Leslie Stahl, 60 Minutes. What a joke. She's not a journalist. She's an establishment propagandist. They all are.
Bogus claims of spying on the president's campaign.
Trump's spy claims.
Debunked conspiracy theory.
People come to QAnon through things like 9/11 trutherism, the Barack Obama birth certificate conspiracy theory, the Trump Spygate stuff.
And now, today, when their entire narrative collapses and the whole world can see that what they've been saying is literally the opposite of the truth, that it was Hillary who did the hacking, that it was Hillary who did the Russian interference, how do the media cover it? On the Sunday shows today, George Stephanopoulos, ABC, 0 minutes. Margaret Brennan, CBS, 0 minutes. Jake Tapper, CNN, 0 minutes. Poor old Chuck Todd. He was bumped by the Beijing Olympics. NBC got to keep that genocide cash coming in. But how much time do you think he would have spent telling his audience today that everything he's been telling them about Russia and the 2016 election for the last 5 years was a lie? New York Times, nothing. Washington Post, nothing. Reuters, AP, nothing. They are so embarrassed they can't even begin to admit how wrong they were. But honestly, how can we have a functioning democratic republic when the media just buries information that contradicts its ideological narrative? Biden, family corruption. The origins of the pandemic in the Wuhan lab, the Johns Hopkins study showing lockdowns didn't work, and now this.
A bombshell FBI investigation has just been launched into former FBI Director James Comey's alleged illegal surveillance of Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, and the political fallout is shaking Washington to its core.
This is big. Under the leadership of new FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, the Bureau has reportedly launched an investigation into the agency's plan to infiltrate President Trump's first campaign using 2 female undercover agents. The Washington Times reporting that the program was launched in 2015 by then FBI Director James Comey. The honeypot scheme was actually kept off the books, and according to a whistleblower, Comey's investigation was separate from Crossfire Hurricane. You, of course, know that as the FBI's operation that looked into allegations Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. A whistleblower disclosure says, quote, the case had no predicated foundation, so Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case file in Sentinel or any other FBI system. The FBI has multiple methods of protecting highly sensitive investigations, so Comey did not have a legitimate reason not to officially create an official investigation file or have a file number. FBI leaders are reportedly looking for those once undercover agents who are said to have infiltrated the Trump campaign.
Now, folks, let me tell you, things are looking worse than ever for James Comey. Not only did he weaponize the FBI against Donald Trump's 2016 campaign and his presidency in 2017, but he also lied under oath about it. Evidence is stacking up, and the walls are closing in.
Do you stand by your House testimony on March 20th that there was no surveillance of the Trump campaign that you're aware of?
Correct. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. And both.
Okay.
All right, now I know you're all thinking, how do we know for sure that James Comey was lying about spying on Trump? Well, here's the insane part. Once he thought he'd gotten away with it, he started admitting to everything publicly. He acted as if he was above the law, completely untouchable. And guess what? We have video proof of him openly confessing to these actions. But before we get into that, if you enjoy hard-hitting news that cuts through the mainstream narrative, make sure to subscribe. It really helps in the ongoing battle against the YouTube algorithm. Now, take a look at this shocking footage of Comey admitting to spying on Trump's 2016 campaign.
So you said it's not spying. Why do you think Attorney General Barr used the word spying, which is obviously a word that the president has used as well?
I can't explain it. I mean, the only explanation I can think of is he used it because the president uses it, which is really disappointing. He knows better than that and knows that the FBI conducts electronic surveillance by going to federal judges and getting warrants based on probable cause.
But sending an investigator undercover to meet with somebody who is connected to the campaign, they claimed he was later on just a coffee boy. That is an extreme step, no?
No, it's a reasonable...
Did you catch that? Apparently, it's totally reasonable to send undercover FBI agents to spy on a presidential campaign without a shred of probable cause. In this next clip, James Comey doesn't just admit to spying on Trump's campaign. He outright confesses to sending undercover FBI agents directly into Trump's White House. Let that sink in.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. In both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals, and who would be there. And I thought it's early enough. Let's just send a couple guys over.
Now, folks, you know what really ticks me off? James Comey has absolutely zero shame about any of this. It's almost as if he's bragging about what he did, weaponizing the FBI against Trump, spying on his campaign, and thinking he could get away with it scot-free. The moment he believed he was untouchable, he started openly admitting everything, flaunting his abuse of power like it was no big deal. But guess what? That didn't exactly go as planned, did it? Because now, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have launched an investigation, and Comey's past is coming back to haunt him. And here's where it gets really interesting. Just a few months ago, as Trump's 2024 victory started looking inevitable, Comey began to realize that his days as a free man might be numbered. Suddenly, the guy who thought he was above the law was running to the mainstream media, desperately warning people against voting for Trump, almost as if he knows what's coming. Take a look at this.
You said that Trump poses a near existential threat to the rule of law. And this is something, similar language that I hear privately from national security officials, some people you and I both know, who will say this privately about what a second term could mean. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list. Because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could direct that individuals be pursued.
Well, guess what? That's exactly what's happening right now. Kash Patel's FBI is officially going after James Comey, and honestly, it's about time. For decades, these deep state operatives within our federal government and intelligence agencies have acted with absolute impunity, using their power to serve political agendas instead of the American people. But now, finally, we're seeing the first steps toward real accountability. And if you think this is just speculation, think again. Even Chuck Schumer himself has admitted how powerful and vindictive the intelligence community can be. Don't take my word for it. Just listen to what he recently had to say about all of this.
Take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
Folks, how twisted is that? If you dare to challenge the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday to come after you. And right now, they are furious with President Trump. This is exactly why it is critical that Trump drains the Washington, D.C. swamp once and for all. This corrupt, unelected deep state machine has operated unchecked for far too long, and that entire dynamic needs to end. But here's the good news. It finally is. And it all starts with James Comey. One by one, these agenda-driven, power-hungry swamp creatures are getting exposed and removed, making way for leaders who actually respect the rule of law and put the American people first. So as we like to say, we really are making this country great again, one swamp beast at a time.
Mr. Durham, did you see evidence of collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign in 2016? No. So the American public that has been told this hoax for years, it was just that, a hoax. Is that correct?
Our investigation showed that there were a lot of failures in the FBI and how they did this investigation that did not disclose or reveal information or evidence concerning any conspiracy or collusion between Mr. Trump and Russian authorities.
Sum it up. Vice President Biden and President Obama knew about it. Hillary fabricated it. The FBI orchestrated it, and the media sold it.
The president today praised the New York Times for a front-page story, as he notes, that there was an undercover FBI investigator who met with a Trump campaign official, George Papadopoulos. The president views this as spying. The attorney general says this is being looked at. Do you think the Justice Department Inspector General will find anything inappropriate on the part of the FBI or the U.S. intelligence community as far as this is concerned?
Well, I don't know, but I will say that using undercover agents is a standard and legitimate technique that is widely used in investigations. That technique has been used to thwart a lot of counterterrorism plots in this country. So I'm sure, there are protocols and standards for using an agent, and I'm sure that's the case here.
So you're saying this was not done lightly?
Well, no, it's never done lightly.
Was it spying?
Well, I guess it meets the dictionary definition of spy.
If it weren't for President Obama, we might not have done the intelligence community assessment that we did that set off a whole sequence of events which are still unfolding today, notably Special Counsel Mueller's investigation. President Obama is responsible for that.